2022 has been quite an eventful year. Looking back, so much has happened that we might need an encyclopedia to cover everything. Even then, a few events have stood out as markers of the crazy year it has been. Here are a few of the most controversial events of 2022.
Deadly protests sweeping across that country after the death of a young Iranian woman.
I'm curious if you could expand a little bit on the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp verdict.
I'm here because I stand with Amber Heard.
Number 5. Kanye and Kim. Yup, more Kanye and Kim drama in 2022. Despite the fact that the two have found new partners earlier in the year, Ye has been trying to get Kim back in a variety of ways, including publicly criticizing Kim for their daughter North's education. In truth, he is opposed to North using TikTok because she is 8, although Kim does not appear to mind and interprets his statements as personal attacks and manipulations. For once, Ye is not wholly incorrect, because he recognizes that his daughter's use of TikTok at the age of 8 is not necessarily beneficial to her development. Many agree and would not want their 8-year-old child on social media either. More has occurred, including, but not limited to, insulting Pete Davidson and cutting off his mutual friends with Pete, sending a truckload of roses to Kim Kardashian for Valentine's Day, publicly disclosing Kim's DMs, and so on. Outside of bothering his ex-wife Kim Kardashian and berating Pete Davidson, he also had feuds with numerous celebrities, donned White Lives Matter t-shirts, and posted an anti-Semitic rant on Twitter that prompted unfavorable comments from pretty much everyone, even his closest friends. His sponsors are dropping him one by one, including Adidas, which will result in a significant financial loss for Ye. Some Adidas colleagues alleged that he also showed them NSFW footage of Kim Kardashian at work. Next stop for Kanye, a mental facility. Number 4. Johnny Depp vs. Amber Heard case. Amber Heard was found guilty of libel after a televised trial, and a jury granted Johnny Depp over $10 million in his lawsuit, confirming his accusations that she faked her assault allegations against him. This trial will likely be remembered not only as one of those that shook the nation, but also as the one that broke the internet the most. Throughout the trial, more and more details about Depp and Heard's dysfunctional marriage have been uncovered, including frankly shocking messages Depp sent to acquaintances, including Paul Bettany, about Heard, and horrific audio recordings in which Heard admitted to assaulting Depp. Overall, it was a pretty brutal trial, one that we won't be watching again anytime soon. Number 3. Iran's protest. Protests can disrupt regimes that have been created as a result of them. That reality must torment the authorities of the Islamic Republic of Iran, who will face the most serious challenge to their rule since taking power in 1979. The protest started in September when morality police in Tehran arrested Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old Kurdish Iranian lady visiting Iran's capital city for not properly covering her hair. She died while being detained by police. When word of her death reached her village of Sakez in northwestern Iran, hundreds gathered to condemn her killing and Iran's abuse of women. Protests immediately expanded across the country as Iranians of all social, economic, and ethnic backgrounds marched under the banner "Women, Life, Freedom." Iranian leaders blamed the protests on the US and Israel, despite the fact that the driving force was the government's political repression, corruption, and economic mismanagement. The administration used force to quash the protesters. By December, Iranian security forces had killed up to 450 protesters on the streets, and the government had begun publicly executing protesters convicted in hasty tribunals for crimes against the state. The persistence of the protests in the face of official brutality has fueled speculation that Iran is in the early stages of a new revolution. So far, though, the dictatorship has shown no symptoms of disintegration, and no one has emerged to lead the opposition. If this happens, Iran's theocratic system may be sent to history's ash heap. We'll be watching to see how that goes. Number 2. Will Smith slap. Will Smith's big moment, the slap heard around the world, sparked some genuine bizarre debate, as if it were anything more than an out-of-touch narcissist slapping a comic for a dumb, culturally irrelevant joke. However, the slap is still reverberating through celebrity circles, with everyone having an opinion to give. Tiffany Haddish termed it the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Michael Che labeled it a childish response, and Amy Schumer was shocked and horrified at what took place. Many of the celebrities who criticized Smith appeared to have revived a massive Smith fandom that had been dormant for years, waiting for the right opportunity to strike. Number 1. Russia invades Ukraine. Sometimes intelligence agencies, like the mythological Cassandra, accurately foretell events only to be dismissed. Late in 2021, authorities in the United States and the United Kingdom began warning that Russia would invade Ukraine. Many European officials, including Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, downplayed the prospect of war. However, on February 24, 2022, Russia launched what they claimed was a special military operation to force the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine. Ukraine weathered the initial onslaught, much to the amazement of the Kremlin and most military experts, and then began to roll back Russian soldiers. Moscow abandoned its attempt to conquer Kiev in favor of taking the Donbas region in eastern Ukraine. The Ukrainians began a counteroffensive in September, liberating the northern city of Kharkiv. 6 weeks later, Russian forces withdrew from the southeastern city of Kherson, fueling concerns that Ukraine may seek to recapture Crimea, which Russia annexed in 2014. Russia's invasion exposed major geopolitical discord. Western countries backed Kiev, despite their argument that national borders are sacred. China and the majority of countries in the global south did not. Some even blamed NATO expansion for the invasion. However, they failed to explain how an alliance with fewer weapons on the ground than it did 30 years ago and one member leader claiming brain dead could suddenly threaten Russia. As 2022 came to a close, a ceasefire appeared implausible. Russia attacked Ukraine's critical infrastructure in the hope that the cold weather would achieve what the Russian military couldn't: break Ukraine's will. Meanwhile, the rest of the world grappled with the price shocks, supply disruptions, and food shortages caused by Russia's reckless aggression. Indeed, 2022 has been a very controversial year. We can only hope 2023 brings something better. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below.